V1. Rotate.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Codeshare operations with Metro Virtual. We are still at Hamad International. We are operating this flight Metro 109 back to Dubai, short flight, about 45 minutes in the air. The weather hasn't changed much, so we're off of 16 right, same runway we departed from. Unfortunately, it's at the other end of the field, so it'll be quite a long taxi out. Nice opportunity to check out the scenery. So the catering is currently being done. I grabbed some lunch in the terminal, but it's back to work now, and we'll go ahead and prep the flight deck for our return trip to Dubai. So back in the flight deck of the triple, we've got a route request pretty much ready to go, so we'll just go ahead and load that one. 16 right is our departure runway. I guess I should probably wait until that gets loaded. Come on, there we go. 16 right. Let's check our route very quickly. Due to altitude constraints, by the way, we're going to be cruising at, was it 230? So another low altitude flight. Arrival 30 left, and it's the DESD 8 Charlie. You can go ahead and step through this now. Gitbo, and it's quite a long procedure. You've probably seen this in other videos. We'll see if we do the full procedure depending on traffic. Dubai ground was online. I'm not sure if they're still going to be by the time we get there, but we'll see what happens. So that is now all in. 36.8 tons of fuel, and our payload, we're a little bit lighter, 85%, so our zero fuel weight is 500.8 tons, 158 in economy, 36 in business, 7 in first class. That's fine. 270, nope, we want to reject this because we're going at 230, like so. We'll take care of the winds in just a second. Clear that. Cost index, put in 90. Actually, you know, that's a good question. If anybody from Metro is watching this, what's the cost index for the 777? I can't seem to find that on the website. Anyways, 500.8. Reserves is, I think it was 20-ish, because we're coming back, our alternate is back here once again, because it's such a short flight. Step size 0, and what did I want? I want to check the winds, or yeah, so 230 at Kinos. Are we going to be at 230? Oh, okay. So Kinos. So route data. We'll step over to Kinos. Execute. That should load up all of the wind data. It's fine. Descent forecast. Go in here. Forecast. So the transition, once again, unsurprisingly, hasn't changed. And this will probably give me a whole bunch of altitudes I don't want. Yeah, so we'll do 9. We'll do 15. We'll do 19. And we'll do 230. Like so. Request. We'll go to the takeoff performance. Once again, flaps 15 for the departure. Whoops, no, 15. I want the CG to be automatically populated. Load that. We're good there. 537.4, like so. Our wind is currently, let's have a quick look at that. 010 at 14. Interesting. That has shifted, actually. You know what? Maybe we should take a look at the charts and the weather quickly. Because the winds at... Wow, they really shifted. Okay. Barometric is 1017 now. So the weather a little bit dynamic. Yeah, let's go have a quick look at the weather and the charts. So sit rep on the weather. Temperature's 18, dew point's 13. The surface wind 010 at 14. So from the north now, northeast at 14. The pressure is 1017, which means we're sitting here at Alpha 8. We could, yeah, let's do it. 34 left will be our departure runway, and that'll be much easier on the taxi out. So no scenic taxi out for us today. Back to the flight deck. So let's change our little game plan here. Departure runway 34 left. And then we want the awesome one whiskey, like so. Which I think is a little bit more conducive. Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Okay, so that's in. Not too big of a deal. 010 at 15, like so. And it is a 0 slope. And we are good to plug in the V-speeds. 157 is our V2. And we can go ahead and swing this all the way back around. 3, 4, 6. I believe that makes sense. Let's see. Altitude constraints, 3,000. 3,000 is set. We can go ahead and turn on the flight directors. We will go ahead and close the doors for the catering crew. We are departing in about 13 minutes, so we've got to get the passengers boarded very, very quickly and get on our way back to Dubai. Well, we got the passengers loaded in record time. There goes the bridge. The doors are closed. Everything is set. All we need to do is beacon light, and away we go. So parking brake can be released. Should probably tune into Unicom. We'll hear that lovely Metro pre-flight announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this MetroAir flight. As we prepare for takeoff, please pay attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. Whether you are a regular traveler with us or this is your first flight, please pay attention to the following briefing. At this time, your tray table, footrest and TV screen should be folded away and your seat in the upright position. All carry-on baggage should be stored in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. Your seatbelt must be worn whenever the seatbelt sign is activated. If you are not seated with the seatbelt sign switched on, please return to your seat and fasten. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal clip into the button. To remove the seatbelt, lift the lever. The use of cell phones and other portable devices is forbidden during takeoff and landing. Flights airborne, the cabin crew will advise when
I'm delaying the start because I want to wait until we're facing the alleyway. There's a blast fence here, but I don't want to accidentally, you know, there's a vehicle corridor behind it, so. Safety first.
All lavatories are fitted with smoke detectors. If there is a sudden change in cabin pressure, oxygen masks will appear in front of you. Pulling the mask towards you starts the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your mouth and breathe normally. Even though the bag may not inflate, oxygen will still flow through the mask. Make sure you put your own mask on before helping others.
Alright, let's fire up number 2.
Emergency, please follow remember instructions. The cabin crew are now pointing out the emergency exits.
And 2 rotation, fuel.
Take note of your nearest emergency exit, as it may be behind you. A landing in water, however, if needed, life jackets are located under your seat. Take the jacket out of the pouch and place it over your head. Do not inflate the life jacket until you've left the running the bridge pairs. If your traveling at distance, the cabins will also provide them with a light bulb. At any time you need to remind yourself of the safety features of this aircraft, please read the safety tab in front of you. The cabin crew are now conducting a final check of the aircraft. On behalf of all of us here at MetroAir and our codeshare partner FlyUK, we thank you for choosing us and hope you enjoy the flight.
It's a good engine start on number 2. Go ahead and fire up number 1. Wait for N2 rotation. There we go. Go ahead and fire up the hydraulics. So we'll do it properly this time. Wait for the fault light to go out. Wait for the fault light to go out. There we go. Center. Fault light goes out. Fault light goes out. Wait to ditch the APU. Starter cutout. I love the sound of the triple on this startup. So, anti-ice, not required. Recall is checked. Flight controls. Flight controls. Full left. Full right. Full up. Full down. Full left on the rudder. Full right on the rudder. Neutral. So we need how much trim this time? 5.5 units. There is 5. There's 5.5. So trim is set. Flight controls are checked. Ground equipment is clear. Flaps go to 15 once again. 1, 5, 15. We'll wait on those. Go ahead and ditch the APU. That can go off. Taxi light goes on. And after takeoff checklist is next. So, runway 3, what was it? I already forgot. 3-4 left? 3-4 left. Just out there. Short little taxi. Parking brake is released. Let's roll. We're not even going to take full length today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a D rate, but we're just going to hold here Lima 1 for 3-4 left. Taxi light goes off for a second. Come to a stop here. Cabin is ready. And stop. Parking brake. Yeah. Right now we're taking off with full power. I do not want that. This will delete the takeoff speeds. That's fine. We'll do 45. We'll do 50. We'll do climb 1. And we'll reset the speeds. 153 is now our V2 speed. That makes a little bit more sense. You know what we'll do? What's it saying we're going to land with? 19.7. What did I put in? Perf. put 20, so we'll put 17. There we go. Cool. Alright. Flaps are set, blah blah blah, traffic, weather, and TCAS goes fully on. Check the approach path. Nobody inbound. Let's do this. So, shiny switches. Advise the cabin. And onto the runway we go. Start the clock. Add a little bit of power.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
V2.
Gears coming up. View of the city there as we depart. An immediate left turn rather. There's that right-left B getting mixed up once again. Pitch it down a little bit. There we go. Beautiful view. We're going to climb right through this alt restriction. I'll pretend I did that on purpose. We're going to go straight up to cruise level. So we can start pitching it over ever so slightly, and we'll start to pick up our speed. Keep this climb going. And switch off the useless lights. And we'll bug it for 220 for now. Actually, we'll make it 210, which means we can bring in flaps 5. And on goes the autopilot. Some traffic in the region, but nothing really conflicting. Way above us, both of them. So overflights probably. Shiny switches are off. We are on standard. We're just approaching our top of climb. A little bit of cloud activity. We're going to roll out of this turn, and I'll probably release the passengers. That's about it. There's really nothing much to say on this climb out. So what we'll do is we'll get to our cruise, and we already have our arrival and everything programmed in. So we're going to start our descent here at Kinos, and then there's that long arrival procedure into 30 left at Dubai. We'll worry about that in a bit. What we can do in the meantime is just check the charts really quickly, and you know what? Because I'm going so fast here, it's trying to keep up in terms of the lateral navigation, and not doing a very good job, I might say. Come on, start the right turn. There you go. A little bit of an oscillation. I mean, that's obviously my fault here because we sped up a little bit too quickly. So you know what we'll do, just to even this out a little bit, is we'll go direct to Ulelo. See if that makes it happier. There we go. That should make it a little bit happier. There we go. Back on course. Okay. You happy now? Happy now. Okay, cool. So we can release the passengers. Not much in terms of scenery. We're just going over the water here. So we'll pick it back up. Probably, maybe top of descent, maybe even a little bit further on, because there's really not much. I mean, we're going to start our descent just past Kinos, and then it's going to be a long downwind leg for the full procedure. We'll see what happens on that one. There is some traffic, although we should probably keep an eye on that. They are above us, but we do seem to be closing. We are stopping at 3-4. Let's see if we can see them. So they should be just off our nose. I doubt we'll be able to see them. There he is, same direction of flight. It's a Boeing 747 by the looks of it. That took a while of searching. Anywho, they're vacating over to the right, so no conflict. It's fine. It's good to see some traffic around here, though. So next stop, Alsam. Still got a ways to go. Let's go check our approach chart for runway 30 left at Dubai. So I just checked the weather quickly at Dubai. Winds are out of the west, due west, 270 at 10 knots. Pressure's 1015. Good visibility. Scattered at 2300. Not really much of a factor. Here's our approach chart for 30 left into Dubai. The ILS frequency, or the LOC frequency, is 111.3. Our final approach course is 300, and our minimums are 259 baro or 200 radio. That's because there is the aerodrome elevation, or airport elevation, is 62. But in the real world, the runway undulates a little bit by about 3 feet, so the threshold is 3 feet lower than the aerodrome. We will take, we'll just take what's on the chart. So 259 is what we'll plug in. It'll be slightly below what, above what it should be, but that's fine. So that's the approach chart for 30 left into Dubai. We are planning to park back at the same stand we departed from. So Foxtrot 20, I believe it was. So after vacating, we'll try to aim for Kilo 6, or actually, you know what, maybe even Kilo 5. So if we go past and to Kilo 5, it should be a straight shot into the stand, and everybody's happy. Cool, so that's the plan into Dubai. I will catch you in a little bit back in the flight deck. Bit of a sit rep, things are getting interesting. That 747 is actually inbound to Dubai as well, British Airways, and there's a Pakistan 737 as well. We're all pretty much within 10 miles of each other. We're really close to this guy here. I don't know if we're going to overtake him or not, but he seems to be taking the same kind of route as us. So this is going to be interesting. What I'm going to do for separation is we'll slow it right down. It's going to prolong the flight a little bit. Sorry to Metro management, but there's no ATC online for separation. So there's the Pakistan 737. And there's the British Airways 74. It looks like we're all going into the same place. So this is definitely going to be something. So yeah, we're slowing right down to, you know what, we'll even slow it further. And really let this guy get ahead of us. Because now we're within 5 miles. We're about 4 miles within each other. I'm trailing him by about 4 miles. And that is not going to work out very well unless we change our game plan and they go on. Well, we can do a parallel approach, and that might actually make for a fantastic footage. So we'll see what happens with that. Oops, sorry, just resetting my view. So yeah, this is starting to get a little bit interesting, actually. All three of us are lined up like ducks, pretty much inbound to the same thing. So I'm assuming we're all inbound, and we're all going to be doing the DESD 8 Charlie for 3-0 left. What we might do is I'm going to look up the... Actually, and what we can do is, if we're following this 747 really closely, what we'll do is we'll follow him all the way to final approach, and then we'll just break off for 3-0 right, and that'll deconflict ourselves at the last minute. So welcome back to the flight deck. It hasn't been too long, but through my amazing airmanship, we've managed to put a couple of more miles in between us. We're currently trailing the 7.4 by 10. He's trailing the 7.3 by about 5. This is going to be interesting at the last minute. We've had a little bit of a chat through private message through vPilot, and what's going to happen is he's actually on a different arrival than us, and what we're going to do is I'm going to follow him as best I can using the DESD 8 Charlie arrival, and from there we'll see how it goes. And if we end up too close on approach, I'll follow him, and I'll just break off for 3-0 right visually, and that'll be a little bit of fun, something new for the channel. So looking forward to that. We've got the performance for both. They're about the same length in terms of runway length. So we'll just plug in the ILS. Well, it's actually already plugged in for 3-0 left. And at the last minute, we'll just visually scooch over to the right for 3-0 right and deconflict ourselves. So top of drop in about 11 miles. We've already reset the MCP altitude to 110. That is the first constraint. Gonna have to be at 110 or below by Gitbo. Still manual speed, and we are diverging quite nicely. What we'll do is passengers can stay up for now. It's fine. Not much in terms of scenery. If we look out the window, let's see if we can see the 7.4 directly ahead of us. He's about 2,000 feet above as well. I lost him. He's somewhere out there. It's about 10 miles now, so it might be a little bit too far for the program to render him in. There we go. Got 11 miles. This is looking good. Should be fine, but we'll see what the arrivals do to us in terms of separation, because like I mentioned earlier, we're on 2 completely separate arrivals into Dubai. So that should be interesting. We'll keep an eye out, and I'll bring you back if something exciting happens. All right. So we're back in the flight deck. I've taken it out of VNAV. We're doing 200 and just under 250 knots. We're at 9,000 despite the altitude constraints, because no ATC, so I can do what I want. Ha ha ha. No, that's not really how it works. But we're monitoring our traffic here. I'm just trying to stay behind him and see exactly what he's doing. There's the Pakistan 737, and the 7.4 is we just lost him off of TCAS, but he was about 10 miles just at our 1 o'clock-ish. So I wanted to talk about VAS because for the making of this video, I bumped up the texture resolution from 1024 to 2048 or whatever the next one up is, and I was getting a little bit concerned at our departure airport of Hamad, because I was getting up to about 3.2 gigs, 3.3 gigs used. And I was worried that when Dubai loaded in, that it would spike up and cause an out-of-memory error. I mentioned this in a couple of other videos. I'm still, and here we go. Here's everything loading in now, and you can see I am most certainly not running out of memory. I wanted to talk about it because I mentioned in a couple of other videos that I'm still running Prepare 3D version 2.4. So it's in every one of my descriptions. I just want to put it out there in words now. Prepare 3D version 2.4. I have not upgraded to 2.5. I know 3 is now out. I'm still waiting to pull the trigger on that one because I'm quite happy with 2.4, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, at least is my philosophy. So as we approach the Dubai here and everything loads in, I was worried that 3.2 gigs out of 4 used would, when Dubai loaded in, that it would spill over and cause an out of memory. I just checked it in the cruise. It went all the way down to 2.6. So as Hamad got unloaded from the system, which 2.4 seems to do very, very well, my memory usage went all the way down to 2.6, and now with Dubai in, let's have a quick check and see with it loaded, we're at 3.3 again. So it's staying well within that 4 gigs of limit of VAS usage for Prepare 3D. So I'm very, very happy with 2.4, and I don't see the need to upgrade at this point. Now, there's some eventually add-on capabilities or compatibilities rather will probably force my hand, and I'll end up upgrading. But for now, at least, 2.4 is doing fantastic, and it's all about keeping it under that 4 gigs of VAS usage. I thought maybe the extra texture resolution would really spill me over the edge, but as this is a short flight in the triple, and I recently reinstalled the 777 with the PMDG recently released an update which caused better memory management, so that was I think it saved about 400 or 500 megs in the entire aircraft, so that definitely does help as well. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and that I'm super happy with 2.4 and its memory management. So Hamad unloaded before Dubai loaded up, and we're still rocking and rolling up here at 9,000 feet. So fantastic performance on that. So let's have a quick look at our scenery here, because this is one of the things I wanted to showcase, and since it's a beautiful day, we can have a quick look around. So there's the field. We're landing 30 left, which is that one right there. There's the threshold right there, and our stand, let's check if it's occupied. It is not. And there's the city of I guess that's Dubai there, or maybe it's on the other side. No, I think that's Dubai. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful scenery to fly into. Love this scenery. Not too big of a hit on the frames either. I'm still pulling high 20s to 30 FPS, and my system is starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. The i5 is, I really got my money's worth with the i5, and the 770 is handling it like a champ as well. All right, now that we're done with the hardware discussion, we can continue to focus on our arrival here. So the QNH is set, and I haven't set the baro, so it was 250 something? No. I'll have a quick look at the charts and I'll be right back with you. So 259 is set as our barometric minimums. I stopped bothering with the checklist a little while ago. I'm just gonna wing this. Don't really have... Okay, so there's a target 7,000 feet above and descending, so that's one we've got to watch out for. Although I think based on their course alone, they're inbound for maybe another airfield. I don't think that's the Pakistan 737. Let's see if we center this. Oops. I hate when EZdok bounces like that. Alright. So let's have a quick look here. Yeah, I don't see that 7.4 anywhere. What we'll do is, I'm not sure where this guy's going, so... That's the interesting thing about flying on VATSIM with no control, is you really have to be conscious of other traffic and where they're going and where they're headed. So we'll stay up here at 9. We're going to start to descend. They are above us. Yeah, let's start to descend now. We'll reset for, let's call it 5 for now. Flight level change. Bring the speed back to 240. And we'll see what this guy does. Yeah, I don't know if that's... I don't think that's the Pakistan 737, but I don't know who that is. Quick check on VATSPY, and it is the Pakistan 737, so I guess he went all the way out here to the east before coming back. Not quite sure what arrival he was on, but the separation looks good. He's going to pass kind of behind us and above us and come back in for the field. We're going to extend out here and then swing it back around. So everything's looking good for that. What I can do is, we're about 1,000 feet below VNAV, so I will VNAV it, and we will stick in 230 knots, and then we'll start to slow in the turn. Oh, please don't try to slip in ahead of me. That's not gonna work, buddy. Alright, well, let's go ahead and arm the loc. Still nothing on the glide, but that's fine. Yeah, I think he's gonna tuck in behind, so I'll keep the speed up. And we may have to vacate a little bit early. We're still 20 miles out. I'm gonna go ahead and broadcast our intentions on Unicom. There's the glide, so approach is armed. I will be right back with you after a quick intentions broadcast on Unicom. Alright, welcome back to the flight deck. We have the glide slope, we have the localizer, we are about 15 miles back. The intentions were broadcast on Unicom. I think that 737 is behind us. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yep, behind us, sliding in at about 12 miles. Plenty of spacing, so that worked out nicely. And what we can do now is start to slow the aircraft down, because we are kind of speeding along here. Still doing 200 knots. Although with the headwind, I'm not exactly sure why. Missed approach altitude is 4, so that is set. Us keeping the speed up, I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that's for traffic separation. I'm going to bring out the speed brakes a little bit because we don't seem to be slowing too much. I can't really see anything yet. When we get down below 200 knots, I'll drop the gear. Actually, we'll do that at about 10 miles. But everything's working out so far. There's the ground. Ten and a half miles to go. Speed's really not coming back though, even at idle thrust, so we've got a little bit of a headwind. It's a little bit from the left. Everything else is looking good though. Once we drop the gear, which I will do now, we'll really start to slow down. There's all the lights. 2500 is checked. We'll bug down to our approach speed, so VREF is 145, we'll do 150. And now you can see the speed's coming back. So, spoilers armed. Just waiting on final flaps. There's 20. And we'll go straight to full flap. Engine's starting to spool up now. Counteract all that drag that we just threw at it. Let's have a quick cheeky look over the nose. Looking pretty good. Just waiting for the runway. Speed's really starting to come down. Come on, spool up. Those massive GE90s take a little while to spool. There we go. Speed's coming back now. Back up, rather. And I think that's the runway just ahead. I think you can see it right there. There's the threshold. So, autopilot's coming out. 2 clicks on the yoke here. So my aircraft, I will go ahead and match the throttles, and auto throttle disconnected. Sinking a little bit too much. Go up a little bit. Add a little bit extra power. There we go. Push the nose back down. It's a little bit sloppy on the approach, but that's okay. So we might, just as a courtesy to the traffic behind us, we're going to vacate probably a little bit sooner than ideal for the stand. Speed's coming back a little bit, so I'll add a little bit of extra power. A little bit more. There we go. And that's looking pretty good.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Landing. Disregarding the pappies, we're bang on the glide.
100. 50.
Power
30.
coming back.
20. 10.
And beautiful. Nose comes down with a thud. A little bit of reverse, not too much. Auto brakes off. We'll vacate over here to the left. Reversers are back in. And welcome back to Dubai. So, a little bit extra braking here. And you know what? This is kind of a 90-degree. I think there's a high speed up here. Maybe if not, whatever. We'll just take that exit. And we'll go park up at stand Foxtrot 20, back where we started. A little bit extra braking. And while we do this, I'm just going to Unicom broadcast that we are vacated. Just complete the turn here. It's going to be a little bit of a taxi out to the stand, but that's okay. We'll use Kilo, which is the outer taxiway. So lights off. Taxi light on. Strobes. Complete the right turn here. And I will broadcast on Unicom that we are vacated. As we approach the stand, we'll turn off the taxi light. And there's the line for Foxtrot 20. Let's see if the ground crew's here for us. They are. So we'll overshoot just a skosh. start turning her towards the stand. Now we're going to ignore the parking gate system, and we're going to go with GSX. And maybe a little bit more. There we go. Engines off. TrackIR off. A bit too short and to the left. Thank you very much. Seatbelts off. Hydraulics can come off. And that was it. So let's get deplaned, deboarded, and take a nice break here in Dubai. That was an hour and 14 block to block and 55 minutes in the air. Well, thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, on our adventures in the Middle East with our Codeshare partners, MetroAir Virtual. I think I've satisfied my craving for the heavies for now, so we should be getting back to our regular series, Class E to ATP, very soon. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this little departure from our regular series, or if there's anything in particular you'd like to see next. I'm gonna go catch a flight back to Europe for our next adventure, so I wish you all blue skies, tailwinds, and I'll see you in the next episode.